Assalamu alaikum guys. In today's lecture we will completely discuss about the economy of Pakistan. In this lecture we will cover all aspects of Pakistan economy. So let's start. The currency of Pakistan is called Pakistani rupee and its abbreviation is PKR, or you can also write R capital and S small. Fiscal year of the Pakistan start from 1st July up to 30 June. Trade organization, the main trade organization which Pakistan is a signatory are ECO, Economic Cooperation Organization, SAFTA, South Asia Free Trade Agreement, WTO, World Trade Organization, AIIB, Asia Infrastructure Bank, ADB, Asian Development Bank, and some others group. Country group. Pakistan is a developing economy. Remember, developing economy are those countries which are not yet developed and not totally poor, but they are striving for their prosperity and development. So it's called developing economy. Lower middle income country. Statistics of Pakistan are population. Pakistan have 242 million population. Pakistan is fifth in the world in terms of population. GDP. Pakistan GDP, current GDP Pakistan was 341 billion US dollar. Pakistan GDP is, in term of purchasing power parity, it is 1.5 trillion dollar, while nominal GDP of Pakistan is 341 billion dollar. We will further discuss about GDP. What is GDP? It's too much important term. Let's have some explanation. Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product is a monetary measure of the market value of all the final goods and services produced in a specific time period by a country or countries. GDP is most often used by the government of a single country to measure its economic health. Due to its complex and subjective nature, this measure is often revised before being considered as a reliable indicator. GDP definition are maintained by several nations and international economic organizations. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, defines GDP as an aggregate measure of production equal to the sum of the gross value added of all resident and institutional units engaged in production and services, plus any taxes and minus any subsidies on products not included in the value of their output. An IMF publication states that GDP measure the monetary value of final goods and services that are bought by the final user produced in a country in a given period. GDP nominal per capita does not, however, reflect difference in the cost of living and inflation rate of the countries. So this was the brief definition of GDP. In simple term, if we define GDP is the complete output value of product and services in 1 year in a country. It includes all the income produced by the foreigner and the resident within the boundary of the country, while it does not include the remittances sent by the resident of the country from other nations. GDP rank of Pakistan is 46. In terms of nominal GDP, Pakistan is 46 in the world, while in terms of purchasing power parity GDP, Pakistan is 24th in the world. GDP growth rate of Pakistan, in current year, Pakistan GDP growth rate is 0.5%, while during 2022 it was 6%. And in the current fiscal year of 2024, the GDP is predicted as a 3.5% growth rate. GDP per capita of Pakistan in the current year is $1,568, while in terms of purchasing power parity, it is $6,836. GDP per capita rank in the world 157 nominal and 138th purchasing power parity. GDP per capita is actually the total GDP divided by the total population. As Pakistan have the largest population, therefore the GDP per capita of Pakistan is very much low because the total GDP when divided by all the population of Pakistan, so the per capita GDP value is too much less, and therefore Pakistan is 157th in the world in terms of GDP per capita. GDP by sector. Mainly GDP have three sectors. In Pakistan, agriculture share in GDP is 22%, industrial share is 19%, and services share is 58%. GDP is mainly consist of three main sectors: agriculture, industry, and services. So we will discuss all these three sectors. Agriculture sector is also called primary sector of the economy. The primary sector of the economy include any industry involved in the extraction and production of the raw materials such as farming, logging, fishing, forestry, and mining. These all sectors are a part of agriculture sector. The primary sector tends to make up a large portion of the economy in developing countries than it does in developed countries. In developed countries, the primary sector has become more technologically advanced, enabling, for example, the mechanization of farming as compared with lower tech methods in poor countries. Now we will discuss the industrial sector of Pakistan. It is also called secondary sector of the economy. In macroeconomics, the secondary sector of the economy in the economic sector in the three sector theory that describe the role of manufacturing. It encompasses industries that produces a finished usable product or are involved in the construction. This sector generally takes the output of the primary sector, that is raw material, and create finished goods suitable for sale and to domestic business or consumer and for export. Many of these industries consume large quantities of energy, require factories, and use machinery. They are often classified as light or heavy based on such quantities. This also produces waste materials and waste heat that may cause environmental problem or pollution. Manufacturing is an important activity in promoting economic growth and development. Nation that export manufacturing products tends to generate higher marginal GDP growth, which support higher income and therefore marginal tax revenue needed to fund such government expenditure as healthcare and infrastructure. The third sector of GDP is the services sector, which is the main sector in Pakistan economy, which produce 58% share of our total GDP. Third sector or services sector is also called tertiary sector of the economy. The tertiary sector of the economy, generally known as the service sector, it is the third of the three economic sectors in the three sector model, also known as the economic cycle. The others are the primary sectors, raw material, and the secondary sector, manufacturing. The tertiary sector consists of the provision of services instead of end products. Services, also known as intangible goods, include attention, advice, access, experience, and effective labor. The tertiary sector involves the provision of services to other businesses as well as to the final consumer. Services may involve the transport, distribution, and sale of goods from the producer to the consumer, as many may happen in the wholesaling and retailing, pest control, or entertainment. The goods may be transformed in the process of providing the services as happen in the restaurant industry. However, the focus is on people by interacting with them and serving the customer rather than transforming the physical goods. The production of information has been long regarded as a service sector, but some economists not attribute it to a fourth sector called the quarterly sector. GDP by component: household consumption 82%, government consumption 11%, investment in fixed capital 14%, investment in inventories 1%, export of goods and services 8.2%, import of goods and services 17%. Inflation, consumer price index, inflation of Pakistan. Pakistan is experiencing skyrocketing inflation nowadays. It's 29.4%, which is too much high. Base borrowing rate, it is 22%. Population below poverty line 35% and less than $3 a day. 5% in extreme poverty. Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient indicate the difference between the very low, very poor and very rich people. So in terms of Gini coefficient, which rank from 0 up to 100, Pakistan lies in 31, which is in medium. Human Development Index. In terms of Human Development Index, Pakistan point are 0.5, which is low. Human Development Index indicate the development, the prosperity, the lifestyle, the common and the basic facilities for a human life, the education, the health, hygiene, water, access to entertainment, such type of all activities are included in Human Development Index. In terms of Human Development Index, there are points from 0.1 up to 1. Pakistan lies in 0.5, which is low. Labor force, Pakistan has a large labor force. Total labor force of Pakistan is 71 million, in which employed are 67 million. Labor force by occupation, where our labor force is occupied. So the main chunk of our labor force are consumed in the agriculture sector, which is 37%, in industrial sector 25%, and in services sector our labor force is 37%. Unemployment rate in Pakistan, it is very much high, 7%. Our labor force is unemployed. Main industries of Pakistan are textile, apparel, food processing, pharmaceutical, surgical instrument, construction materials, fertilizer, shrimp, paper products. Exports. The total export of Pakistan is 35 billion US dollar, which is again a very low figure. Export goods of Pakistan are textile, food, chemical and pharmaceutical, leather goods, sports goods, petroleum. Main export partner, the countries to whom we are exporting, main part of our export are, the first one is United States. We are exporting, these are exporting partner. We are exporting our 21.2% of the total export to the United States. Second one is China. We are exporting 7.3% to China, 7% to UK, 5.7% to Germany, 5.3% to UAE, and 5% to Netherlands, 5% Spain, and 4.1% to Italy. Import. Our total import is 60 billion US dollar. There is a lot of difference between our import and export. Our export is just 37 billion and import is 60 billion US dollar. Import goods are petroleum, agriculture, chemicals, machinery, food, textile, metal, transport. Main import partners. We are importing our main chunk of imports from China because 18.6% of our import is from China. We have a lot of trade deficit with China. We are just exporting 7% to China of our export. And remember, our total export is also very low, just 37. 7% of 37 we are exporting to China. And we are importing 18% of 60. We are importing 18% of 60 from China, which is too much high figure, almost one third. We are importing 14% our import from UAE, 6.4% from Saudi Arabia, 5.3 from Singapore, 4.3 from United States, 5.1 from Indonesia, 5% from Kuwait, and 2% from Malaysia. FDI stock, foreign direct investment stock, is 31 billion. Current account, our current account is minus 2.5 billion US dollar. Gross external debt, our gross external debt is currently 126 billion US dollar. Public finance, government debt. Government debt is 73% of our GDP, which is a highest figure, and generally almost 60% of GDP debt is allowed. If you increase then 60%, then it's alarming figure. Budget balance minus 7.9 of GDP. Revenue is also very low. 12% of GDP is revenue, or 45 billion US dollar in entire year. Expenses, 20% of GDP. We have expenses 20% of GDP, which is also again a very high figure. Economic aid, we got average 2.7 billion economic aid. Credit rating, Standard and Poor's, domestic B, foreign B, Moody CAA1, outlook negative. Foreign reserve, Pakistan have just 13.4 billion total foreign reserve, which is again a small figure. Here are some short detail about the economy of Pakistan. The economy of Pakistan is classified as a developing economy. It is 23rd largest in terms of GDP based on purchasing power parity. In 21st, the country had a population of 227 million people as of the fiscal year 22. The nominal GDP of Pakistan stands at 376 billion US dollar with a nominal GDP per capita 1658. The GDP based on purchasing power parity stand at 1.5 trillion US dollar with a GDP purchasing power parity per capita is 6,662 billion US dollar. In the formative decades of Pakistan, the economy was largely based on private industries. Nationalization of significant portion of the sector, including financial services, manufacturing, and transportation, had begun in the early 1970s. With the beginning of Ziaul-Haq regime in the 1980s, a more Islamic economy was adopted, which outlawed economic practices forbidden in Sharia and mandated traditional religious practices instead. Although the economy began to privatize in the 1990s. The growth poles of Pakistan economy are situated along the Indus River. The diversified economies of Karachi and major urban centers in Punjab coexisting with lesser developed area in other part of the country. Pakistan was classified as a semi-industrial economy for first time in the late 1990s, albeit in underdeveloped country, with heavy dependence on agriculture, textile industry being dependent on cotton production. Primary export commodities include textile, leather goods, sports equipment, chemicals, and carpets. Pakistan is currently undergoing a process of economical liberalization, including the privatization of all government corporations, which is aimed at attracting foreign investment and decreasing budget deficit. However, the country continues to face the challenges of rapidly growing population, high illiteracy, corruption, political instability, a hostile neighborhood, and a heavy foreign debt. Falling low on budget for paying interest on the debt, Pakistan has been facing an economic crisis since 2022. Amid adverse effect of ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, Pakistan has been facing shortages in supply and high inflation in prices of food, oil, gas, and electricity. The crisis has led to sharp depreciation of Pakistani rupee and downgrading a country's credit rating and by various agencies, which has further increased the possibility of default. If you want to know more about economy of Pakistan, just visit Wikipedia and write economy of Pakistan. You will get a lengthy article related to economy of Pakistan. Must like this video for such type of more informative and learning videos and subscribe my channel. Thank you.